Welcome to the Anti-Hustle Business Podcast. I am your host, Shannon Whaley, and I'm here to help coaches, consultants, and service providers like you build profitable, sustainable online businesses without the hustle or the burnout that's so prevalent in the online space. I am here to show you that there is a totally different way to do business that doesn't leave you burnt the fuck out and hating your life. It's time to ditch the hustle culture and embrace a new way of doing business. So get ready to redefine success on your terms and build a thriving anti-hustle based business where you have more money, more naps, more travel, more freedom, more whatever the fuck you want in your life. So buckle up and let's dive in. Hi friends, welcome back. So I feel like this episode can potentially ruffle some feathers, and I'm here to talk about it because this is something that we see in the online space and something that is argued about incessantly, whether or not you need a niche. Okay, so it's not that controversial, but lots of people have lots to say that you absolutely need a niche. And then lots of people say that you can just do whatever and you don't need one. I am in the camp that you absolutely need to have some sort of a niche. You need to know who you're working with and what they want, and you need to be very specific so that people understand how you help them. And so this episode, we are going to talk about the ins and outs of this. And then ultimately, with all of this, you get to make up your own mind. Maybe you decide to niche down and you test that out for 90 days and see how it feels. I would say you probably need more time than that because figuring out your messaging takes sometimes years, right? Like it's ever evolving. And then if it feels too constricting, maybe you've put yourself into too tight of a niche, maybe you need to zoom back a little bit. I have said this over and over again, that business is an experiment. You don't know what's going to work. You don't know what's going to land. And so you just have to do the thing. You have to do something, fucking do something. Instead of doing all these worksheets, taking all these courses and these programs and then not moving forward with your business. That's not how you actually start and run a business. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to get it wrong. You have to be willing to look stupid, to fuck things up in order to have a business. We're going to talk about the niche drama and my thoughts about this, and we'll go from there. So if you've ever said, I help people with lots of different things, I don't want to box myself in. I hear this all the time, especially for us neurodivergent people. We are multi-talented. We have lots of things that we have interests in and that we can help people with. And so this becomes kind of detrimental to business. If you've ever said that, oh, my work is so deep and so intuitive, I can't possibly explain it in one sentence, or I can't possibly, again, box myself in. It's this very flowy message. Or maybe you've said, I hate marketing because you don't know how to talk about what you do. And that's what's keeping you from showing up online. So if you've said any of those things, if you have been part of this conversation in different arenas, if you've seen this conversation happening online, then this episode is for you. Because in my humble opinion, you need a niche. You don't need a suffocating one. You don't need one that boxes you in and makes you feel constricted. You need to have a very clear and compelling and profitable niche if you want to stay in business. So we're going to clean this up a bit today and walking away with an idea of how to start putting yourself out there so that your people know what you do and that they can hire you. And then you stop leaking all of your energy and your time and your sales because you've dialed this part in. So Why does this matter? So if you can't clearly explain what you do, then nobody's going to pay you to do it. Period. If you can't, yes, I get it. Fully acknowledge you can do lots of different things. But if you're putting out 10 things at one time, you're not speaking to anybody. You're not dialing in your message. You're not dialing in your offer. Your energy is splattered all over the place. And this is what's wrong. Look, at coming from someone who's neurodivergent, I get it. And this is what's wrong and why businesses aren't moving forward and making the money that they want to be making, because they're talking to too many people. You don't have a refined message. So people aren't buying vagueness. They're not buying these vague ideas or these grand big ideas. They're buying solutions to actual problems that they are actively trying to solve. They are buying solutions from people who know how to speak to their desires, their needs, their wants, who understand their pain points, who have done the work. And when you're creating a program, when you work with me, we don't just put a program together and it takes, a quick session and we're done. This is work. Like, you're putting work in to deeply understand your ideal client avatar for this one offer at a time. It's not just like a whimsical, let's put this together and see what happens. Like, we're putting real work into creating your signature offers. I know that you have a big heart and you don't want to leave people out. And I fully get that. And you have to do the mindset work to be willing to leave people out. You have to trust that you'll get them with your next offer, or that you can serve them in some other way. You can refer them to your free content. You can tell them to listen to this, not this particular, but if you have a podcast, like, here, listen to this podcast episode. I did something on this. Follow me on Instagram. This is where I talk about these things. But this is the thing that I'm selling. Now, can you go and do, let's say somebody reaches out to you and they want a custom package. Sure, create a fucking custom package. But then you are still talking about the same thing online. Do not get sidetracked and go off onto a side quest. Marketing that is clear and concise and speaks directly to your people, that takes time. You have to build up that trust. You have to share the different parts of the program and why people need it and how it's going to help them. And so you have to stay the line. You have to stay in your launch. And this is so hard for so many people. So clarity is not a limitation. This is your portal to power. This is how you are going to change things in your messaging and how you're showing up. Because when you have this clarity, it muffles the outside noise and you can zero in on the person that you're talking to. Remembering too that your niche is not your identity. This is your positioning. This is so fucking important to remember. This is how you're positioning yourself and your business, but it's not your identity as a human. So we want to create buffers between ourselves, human, and our business. These are different things. And so the niche isn't about who you could help. It's about clearly showing who you help best right now, and then making it easy for the right people to say yes. You have to zero in on the thing that you're selling. You have to get fully committed for your launch to stay the course for whether it's a 6-week launch, an 8-week launch, however long of a runway you give yourself. I recommend at least 6 weeks, because you're picking up steam. You're learning how to talk about this offer. And especially if this is the first time that you've ever offered this program or this thing, it takes a while to build that momentum. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself that time. Want to break free from the hustle and grind and build a successful business? I've helped thousands of clients and students leave their 9-to-5 jobs, travel the world, land their first clients, close 5-figure sales in the DMs, and grow their businesses to 6 and 7 figures. Want to know more? Visit antihustlebiz.com and transform your life and business the anti-hustle way. Okay, back to the show. So let me walk you through the 3 things that every profitable niche needs. So you need a clear client. Who are you working with? So this is someone who has a very specific problem. It's not just women or creatives or coaches. You need to be much more specific than that. So one thing that I want you to ask yourself is, what are they struggling with? You need to know their pain points so that you know how you solve those pain points. What are they Googling at? What are they Googling at 2 a.m.? Or what are they at this point? What are they chat GPTing? What are they trying to learn about? And then what are they ready to pay to solve? So thinking about, what do they need? Can you deliver on this? And how can you help them? So the second thing that you need here is you need a tangible result. Your work might be emotional. It might not just be like business coaching where it's like very strategy. However, my business coaching is also quite emotional. But maybe you have more of a being-based business where you are helping people have personal transformations in terms of their mindset and their essence and how they're showing up in their sexuality. So when there are tangible results and intangible results, and the people who struggle with this the most are the ones who are selling or who really work with people who have intangible results. You have to learn how to translate the intangible results into tangible results. So I help my clients feel more confident. That is so fucking wide, right? Like we have to really dial that in. We have to really look at, what does that mean? What does that mean? And what does that mean for each person? So really starting to understand, what does confidence mean for you? How will that show up? So this is where you have to do some market research. And you have to ask the right questions so that you can get the right answers. And then this becomes part of your marketing. This becomes part of your copy. So making sure that you are talking about a tangible result. What transformation are you helping them create? What shifts by the time your work together ends? What's going to change? So some examples are like from stuck to sold out, from spinning out to grounded and strategic, right? So from this to this. And you can obviously get so much more creative than this. From wondering, what the fuck am I doing in my business, to knowing exactly what to say and how to show up to make sales, to build trust and make sales. So I want you to start thinking about where you need to zone in more. Sometimes you have to zoom out and sometimes you have to zoom in. So we'll talk about zooming in more, because maybe your niche is too vague right now. It's not clear enough. So you can still do like mindset, nervous system, identity work. You just have to name the transformation. Feeling more confident, embodying your higher self. Like those are vague as fuck. We have to get much more specific. So this takes work. The third piece to this is that you need to have an aligned offer that connects the dots for them. And it needs to deliver the results that they're looking for. So this is something that people can buy, engage with, and say yes to. They understand how it's going to help them. They understand why they need it now versus waiting. Because that's what you want to be touching on when you're doing your marketing. Like, why does somebody need this now versus waiting? And how can you relay that in your messaging? And then you'll also do different fast action bonuses to speed things up in the sales side of things. So ask yourself, is your offer easy to understand? Does it align with your capacity and your energy? Are you delivering something that's going to feel good, or is how this being delivered going to burn you out? So we want to make sure that first and foremost is aligned. And then can someone read your posts and understand what you're actually selling and how it will help them, and then how to work with you? Are you making clear asks in your content? Get signed up here, DM me for more info. There's lots of different ways to do this to trick the algorithm as well, because you don't want to be putting links to your program in all of your posts because you're going to get dinged by the algorithm. Okay, so I want to move into some of the common mistakes that I see people making that are blocking their sales and keeping them from getting hired. So I've said this a little bit, but being too broad. So I help women heal. I help people feel more confident. I help men take the lead in the bedroom. Like, it's just bland. So great. What kind of healing? What's the outcome? How can you? So this is where you're doing market research and you're hearing from people. This is why you need to ask the right questions so that you can get the right answers, because then this becomes your copy. Make sure that you're recording your consultations, that you have at least transcripts. Maybe you have Otter in the background, or some sort of AI companion to hear direct quotes, because you want to hear from people what they're struggling with. Also, trying to be like too cutesy or too clever. One of the things that I heard way back in the day was clear over clever. People are trying to name their programs all these fucking like whimsical names, and it was just, you didn't know what you were actually buying. It had this like real fruity fucking name, and that was just like the norm. So then you felt like you had to name your offer some fruity, whimsical name as well. And then you didn't sell the spots because then someone comes in and is marketing mastery. Boom. Like fucking clear. So name things that make sense. So I help intuitive empaths find their inner sparkle. What the fuck does that even mean? What problem does that solve? Are people coming to you and saying, I've just lost my inner sparkle? No, they're saying shit like, I don't know who the fuck I am anymore. I've lost myself in my marriage or in my family. I've lost my identity. I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself anymore. I saw a picture of myself and I didn't even recognize who that was. That's what they're not saying like, no one says I've lost my inner. I mean, maybe somebody does, just not the people that I deal with. Okay, so you want to like, what does this mean? If you're hearing that, I guess if you're hearing that over and over again from your demographic and that is something that people are saying, then fucking by all means use it. But if that is not something that people actually come to calls for and tell you that they're struggling with, it's just something that you made up or something that ChatGPT suggested, then don't fucking use that. We need to have legitimate things that people are saying. Another thing that I see keeping people from making money is they're too scared to pick just fucking one thing and stick with it for 6 to 8 weeks, because someone messaged them about this thing and then they go off on this direction and they stop talking about the thing that they were selling because somebody sent them a message about this other thing, and now they're only just talking about this other thing, and then somebody else messages them and they're like, hey, I thought you were doing this thing, and then they're like, oh, I was doing that thing, I'm going to add that thing back in. What the fuck? Just fucking pick something. I've also seen people just paralyzed and so scared to move forward and so scared to put something out there because they couldn't pick something. And it's like, do the work around, like, you can't pick the wrong thing. The only wrong move here is by not picking something and not moving forward. But if you've been at this for years and you still don't have a business because you can't pick the fucking thing, then I don't know what to tell you. You have to pick something and then just go. Clarity comes from movement. It comes from doing something, not worksheets, not doing another ideal client avatar workbook, not taking another course. You're not going to build a business by hanging out in the bleachers. Like, you have to be on the playing field. And the way that you do that is you fucking pick something and then you launch it and you see how it goes. And that's it. And then also, just because nobody wanted it maybe in that form doesn't mean that it's still not wanted or needed. Maybe you just need to talk about it differently. Maybe it's the messaging. So this is why you have to collect data. What's keeping people from signing up? Is your messaging clear? But the only way that you're going to understand that is you have to fucking ask people. And the only way that you're going to do that is you have to put yourself out there. You have to pick one thing and put yourself out there. Now, you don't need to niche down forever. You just need to niche clearly enough that the right people can hire you right now. So when you're too generic, people are going to scroll past because you're not speaking directly to their pain points, their desires. You're not getting them amped up. You're not getting them excited. You're not connecting to them. It's just too broad of a message. And so when you're specific, that's when they stop the scroll. That's when they say, oh, they're talking to me. I feel like they just read my journal. That's what you want in your marketing. You can't get that when you're too broad. So think about where you need to make some shifts in your messaging and in your business, and what needs to be cleaned up here. So I, as promised, have a worksheet available for you. It's the Profitable Niche Clarity Worksheet that I created just for this episode. So it's going to walk you through the exact questions I use with my clients to help them define their niche, look at their core offer, and identify their ideal client. And that way you can start attracting the right people right now. So I will put the link in the show notes and you can go grab that and start putting this to work. Make sure that you come and join my Facebook group, Anti-Hustle Business Coaching for coaches, consultants, and service providers, so that you can share what you are learning and join in on the Facebook Lives and the trainings that I have started doing again, now that I'm on a Facebook jail. So make sure that you get that freebie Profitable Niche Clarity Worksheet and let me know how that goes for you. I will see you or be talking to you next week. Come hang out with me in my Facebook group. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Anti-Hustle Business Podcast. I hope you found inspiration in the message and that you got some actionable next steps that you can implement right away in your business to start seeing results and moving the needle. Remember, you don't have to sacrifice your well-being or your mental health to achieve success. So prioritize your pleasure, play, and rest while you build your business around your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps me reach more entrepreneurs like you who want to do business in a completely new way. For more resources and to connect with my community, please visit my website at antihustlebiz.com and follow me on Instagram at @TheShannonWhaley. Until next time, keep taking those strategic anti-hustle steps toward building the business and life that you love. Take care.